What is going on, guys? Thank you so much for checking out another video. Obviously, we won't be riding or anything today because, as I'm sure all of you guys know, last week I broke my wrist out at Aztec. I also broke a rib. Can't really show that, it's internal, but broke the wrist. So I want to give you guys a quick update about that. And then also today we're going out to my parents' house. We being Allison, Murphy, and myself. We're going out to my parents' house because my sister and niece are on their way in for spring break. So obviously a bummer with this, but good timing, get to spend some time with them. And then as I talk and like breathe, the rib hurts, I'm sorry about that. Out at my parents' house is where I left the dirt bike, so when we go out there we can check out the 125, because after the crash I looked at it a little bit, but I was a little preoccupied, as you can imagine. So we'll check out the bike. I know it's not like completely mangled, but see if there's anything on it that we're gonna have to address before we ride next. But I did want to show you guys the wrist. If you've been following along on Snapchat and Instagram, just the bruising and stuff. So I had an appointment on Tuesday, whatever day that was, I don't even know, the 19th or something like that. And they took x-rays again after the ER, and they were like, yep, you need surgery. And there was like no bruising, it was a little bit swollen. But then the surgeon, she was going on vacation, so they referred me to a different surgeon on Thursday. So I got in, and when they took off the splint, I noticed like some pretty radical bruising on it, which you can see there. Hopefully the light will cooperate here, but you can see some bruising on all that. And it was even worse on Thursday, but then they put on a new splint, so I have that I need to put back on here, but little nice little flimsy, not flimsy, but a nice little splint that doesn't cover my elbow. But so I noticed then on Friday and now Saturday, the bruising's already getting better, believe it or not, but I'll have some pictures so you guys had seen that. But so I got to wear this for the weekend, and then I'm having surgery on Tuesday, so getting the wrist all handled, hopefully. And turns out that the wrist break was more complex than they originally thought. So here you can see my wrist, and this is the same orientation that I'm going to be showing you an x-ray of, so we can just kind of go ahead and check out the internals and see what all is broken in there. All right, so here you can see my hand. Of course, this is my left hand. You got the thumb up here, then my index, middle, ring, pinky finger. So we're looking at the breaks down in here. And then here I have a normal x-ray I just grabbed from Wikipedia. So pretty much we can compare the two pretty well of what it's supposed to be compared to what mine is. The only difference is his thumb, or his or her thumb, is a little bit further out. Mine is tucked in. But the first thing we're going to be looking at here is going to be the ulna. So the ulna just has a little tiny break, and that's going to be right, oh, that didn't come out very good, right here. So all we're looking at, it's just that little, the little crack right there. It's kind of hard to see. So all we're looking at is that little crack right there. That's all it is on the ulna, is this little piece up here should be connected right here. So you can see this is the ulna essentially outlining. So that little piece should be connected there. They said that's really not a big deal, that they wouldn't usually do anything about that. But then the big break, of course, is the radius here, which is this. So I don't completely understand it, but looking at this one, you can see you have just the nice, oh, that's gray. So here you can see you have the nice line coming along here, and then everything's just in line here. I can't use red. It's not letting me use red to outline it. But you can see just how well everything looks there. And going back to mine, you can see how this whole piece coming out to the side, so it broke and then came out to the side. Again, I don't really understand it, like if this break would be sitting right here or how that works out, but you can obviously see the difference between the two. And then the third break that they originally did not catch on the x-ray is going to be the lunate, which is this bone here. So in your hand you have 8 bones. Let me go to the normal x-ray. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I don't know, 7, 8? I don't know exactly. But so we're looking at the lunate here, and you can see mine has this crack here, and then it's like off to the side there, I guess. So he said that it actually broke and it kind of dislocated. That part here came down. If I were to show you the side image, if I can find that real quick. So that's actually this part here came down and is essentially dislocated. And then also from this x-ray, you can see like how gnarly all this is. You can see this part broken off here. So lots of different stuff going on in there. Oops, wrong one. Back that all up. But yeah, so I guess this right here is the lunate down, and then you have the radius break there, I believe, and then all of this just looks nasty and gnarly. But again, like kind of the normal, what it should look like, and then what mine looks like. So it turns out that this lunate break, the one up here, is a pretty rare break. A lot of people break their scaphoid or something like that, I believe, up in there, but the lunate is pretty rare. And he said that it looks like the energy came kind of from this direction, broke through the lunate, and then that's what also broke the radius. So the energy coming in this downward direction here. Let me just kind of close this out and reopen it without all the markings on it. So yeah, that's essentially what we're looking at: the broken ulna, broken radius, and the broken lunate. So the plan is, when they go in for surgery, like I said on Tuesday, he wants to put a pin here which will hold the lunate together, and then put a plate, you know, kind of like, oh man, this drawing, as I drew it, I noticed it was coming out poorly. Let's just do it like that. There we go. Put a plate to hold the radius on and let that heal up. However, if that doesn't quite work out like he wants to, then let me bring up a new one again. Then the other thing he would be doing is getting a big plate that's going to cover the whole area. So I don't exactly know what this plate would look like, but I'm assuming just, you know, kind of something like a big plate that's going to hold everything, rather than just a pin through here. I'll have a plate, and then it screws, of course, throughout the thing. And then if I got this one, it would have to come out in about 4 months. If we went with the other way, then it would depend on how it was healing, if I had to get the plate and pins removed. But that's essentially what we're looking at for the wrist. So yeah, let's kick it back. Now, I've already obviously put my splint back on, but one thing that's going to be unique, if you guys remember in the past, I had a big scar down the back side of my wrist and then a little scar on the top. That's because I've essentially done this exact same break before without the lunate. I broke the ulna and the radius, so I got a plate and pins in the bottom here. One of the pins stuck up too far, ruptured the tendon to my index finger, so they had to take the plate and pins back out, and then they had to go in through the top to fuse together the ligaments to my, or tendons, whatever, to my index finger so that I could move my index finger. So I'm kind of nervous about that, but you guys remember the big old scar here, and I had the plate and pins. The difference now is they're going to be going in from what they consider the back. I can't think of it. I think of it as the top of the wrist, but instead of going through on this side, they're going to go through the top. So that little scar I had here, he's going to essentially cut that same scar, and the plate's going to sit on top of my wrist rather than underneath it. So that's something a little unique with it. And check this out. This is maybe something I shouldn't be proud of, but this is from my last wrist break. Yes, I kept the little titanium piece, so it sat in here. I'm gonna put it on my right arm. It was my left wrist that broke, but you know, just kind of in there on the radius or however. So I did get to keep that little titanium piece, which is kind of cool. And then you know, I have the plates and the pins that were in there with it as well. So just a little weird souvenir that I've kept since May 6th, 2013 is, I guess, when I got these back out. I broke the wrist in 2009. So yeah, no stranger to that, but it is a little bit different. Gonna have a plate on top. So Tuesday, we'll see how that goes. And I'm just excited to get everything back in place and begin the healing process. All right, we're down here at Calhan at my parents' house. Shut the door here. So we're gonna check out the YZ, see if there's any damage with it, and yeah, just check it all over. So we have quite the lineup of bikes here. We have the Coleman pit bike. We got my dad's 15 CRF 450, the 03 YZ 125. the 17 CRF 450 and the 98 RM 250. Yeah, I gotta say the 450 is the best looking bike out here. Sorry, Dad. All right, so here we go. I do not remember the bike being this muddy, that's for sure. But a quick just kind of once over, I know I'm touching the tire here. The bike isn't too awfully beat up. I did notice when we were at the track, kind of hard to see stuff just because we're confined here. I'm gonna move the bike real quick. All right, we have an open bay here, so I'll just bring it back there.
Can't get too awful close to you with this camera either.
Yeah,
this is as wide angle as it gets.
All right, so here we go, just kind of checking out the side. The seat ripped a little bit. We have some graphic damage here, just cosmetic, of course. The grips aren't even like ripped. It's rolling fine. Front brake's working, rear brake's working. I don't know why they wouldn't be, just stuff I'm checking. This is pretty haggard, but
is that just from your boots?
It's probably just from the boots. Yeah, it's like that on both sides. I'm gonna try and fire it up here real quick. Did you notice anything with it, Dad, when you were putting it away or anything?
Not really. Like you said, it rolled real well. I didn't really think anything looked bent just initially.
Little Kickstarter. Get the choke on here. It's coming, it's coming, it's cold.
That started pretty easy for as cold as it is. Yeah. All the mud's falling off.
So obviously it's running fine. As you can see, the front fender definitely took some damage. If you watch the video in slow-mo of me crashing, you can see, so I crashed like over the bars. I'm kind of looking back, like you'd be at the finish line, so I jump this way, and the bike lands like right next to me on the front tire and flips away. So I don't think the bike actually caught me at all, but everything actually feels really straight. I mean, it honestly, everything feels straight on it. So I think the bike really didn't take a toll.
Oh yeah, there was one thing I do notice that the tire doesn't line up with the point of the fender.
Okay, yeah, I can see that now that my dad mentioned it. But for the most part, for as gnarly as I ended up with that crash, things are fine with it. So I won't be able to put this back myself. My dad will have to help me. But yeah, so I gave you guys just a little update on the bike, which it turns out is really nothing. Talked about the wrist, and on the video, of course, I'm sure some of you guys saw, I posted some of the comments. People had strange comments like, oh, why do you even care about yourself? The other guy broke his ribs. And it's like, yeah, I cared what happened to Chris, but I was like in shock when this happened, you know? So I just wanted to get to the pits and sit down, because I felt like if I stayed on the track, I was just gonna lay down, and I didn't want to do that. That's why I got up as fast as I could, cleared the track, and just went to the pits. And I knew someone else was grabbing my bike, and Chris already had people around him. Honestly, I was just kind of in shock with adrenaline. I just wanted to get out of there and sit down. And after I kind of chilled out some, then I went and checked on Chris as they were putting him on the mule. He was out of it. I don't even think he saw me. And then I texted him later that night to see how he was doing. But if you guys would like to check on Chris's progress, Rippin' Warrior Productions, that's his Instagram. Last I heard, he had a few broken ribs and a punctured lung, but things seem to be going all right for him. So that's good for sure. But that's the update for this week, guys. Surgery, I won't really know on recovery. They said maybe 4 to 6 months. So that's pretty long, but I'll let you guys know as I know. So let's put this back, but appreciate you guys watching as always. So until next time, take it easy. If it's easy, take it twice. We'll talk to you later.
You're the greatest change in me. So can you see you're all I'll ever need? And yes, that